morning, Christ at the North. How are we doing this morning? Yes. Can you guys hear me? Yes. All right. I'm doing pretty good myself. I feel the Spirit in here this morning, and I'm loving this. DJ, if you don't go to Bible study, make sure you wake yourself up an hour early. Some of you have to be at work at that time anyway. It's another day for you. Get into Bible study, get what you need, because I was smiling the whole time DJ was presenting this morning. Mainly because it sets up exactly what we'll be talking about today. And we didn't talk about it beforehand. This is how the Spirit works. He prepared what he had to prepare, I prepared what I had to prepare, and it syncs perfectly together. And I love that. Do yourself a favor. Get up an extra hour early. It's not that bad. Drink an extra cup of coffee. Okay? Get here. You're missing out if you don't. But I'm also, my heart's warm today because I see some friendly faces. I see some family friends. I see my brother-in-law has come back. He's been gone for the last month, serving in the military, doing his training. So I'm so glad he's back. I'm know, his girls are super excited. You know, one's clinging to him right now. Well, I'm also excited as the youth pastor because our kids go back to school this week. Right? Some of your parents are like, oh, thank God, right? Like, thank you, Jesus. They're going back to school. They've been driving me crazy this summer. You go to Walmart and Target, you see all this back to school ads and all the sales that are going on, and I'm thinking, Jesus, I don't have to go back to school. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I'm not there yet. I'm not there anymore. But the new school year brings hope. Take yourself back to when you were in middle school and high school. It brings hope. You go with your parents, go back to school shopping, you get the new outfits laid out the day before, right? Laid out, you ready. You know the first week exactly what you're going to wear. Those new shoes you've been keeping up, those new sneakers, you got your new polo shirt, you all ready, you're decked out to the nine. Ready, because the new year brings new excitement. Maybe you get to see some of your friends you haven't seen all summer, and you're excited to see them. You've been talking yourself up like that. This year, I'm going to talk to that girl I have a crush on. I promise I'm going to make sure I do that. And then another year goes by, you never talk to her. But you got new lockers. You're texting or calling your friends to see what classes they are in, because you're hoping that they are in the same class as you are. It brings new excitement. Parents are excited because they're out of their hair, but they're one step closer to graduation and getting out of your head permanently. But you're also excited for them to push themselves, learn new skills, new talents they might have. And so there's an excitement around back to school year. And the reason why you have loving parents is because your parents believe in you that you want to do something great. You're going on to do something great with your life. And each person's great was different. But that's the hope. That's the hope for Christ in the North, is that we build these young men and young women up so they may do something great to help impact this world. And that's a daunting task. Today we'll look at a man, Nehemiah, who set out to do something great. Had the audacity to do something great. And the lessons we can learn from his example ring true today. First, however, we must understand the circumstances which Nehemiah was growing up in and where he was at. During that time we catch Nehemiah, there's two books that coincide with each other, Ezra and Nehemiah. They were actually written together. If you go back long time ago, those books were actually together, but now they've been separated. So Ezra and Nehemiah takes a look at three men, Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. At this particular time that we catch this story, Jerusalem has been destroyed, and God's people, Israel, is on the run. The Babylonians have come in, taken over Jerusalem, they burned a lot of the city down, and God's people are living in exile. 50 years later, after the fall of Jerusalem, Zerubbabel comes along in Ezra chapters 1 through 6. And he brings about leading a group of people back into Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. The temple's been destroyed. Zerubbabel takes it upon himself to help rebuild God's temple. And he has a lot of issues and challenges that face him. Then we get later into Ezra, and we meet Ezra. And he leads, about 50 years after Zerubbabel, he leads the people back into Jerusalem to build up the community. He starts teaching the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. He starts teaching and getting them back to their foundation. He brings God's people back to their foundation of where they need to be at. Isaac was talking about Walmart and schools and stuff. He joked about a very true statement, sad statement, that sometimes that might be the 2 worst jobs to have in America right now, because safety is on a high alert. Some of us need to get back into Ezra, get back to our roots, to rebuild our communities back up. However, in each story, both men make some personal mistakes. God gives them a task. They make some personal mistakes away from God, and it falls apart. Zerubbabel can't get along with other people. He's one of the people that just rubs people the wrong way, and eventually his plans crumble. Ezra comes up with a racist decree, divorce decree. Let's call it what it is. You think this is something new? What's going on in the United States? It's been going on in the Bible forever. Nothing new under the sun. Okay? So this is where we pick up in Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 1. It says, in the month of Kislev, in the 12th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa, Hanani, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that had survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. They said to me, those who survived the exile are back in the province and are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire. When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned, fasted, and prayed before the God of heaven. I understand what Nehemiah is going through, because sometimes I watch the news, I mourn. Certain stories get to me more than others. The one that recently got to me was that guy that cut through the gate and shot that garlic festival. And his 6-year-old child was killed. It hit me hard because my niece had just turned 7. Same age. I can't understand that kind of evil. Certain things touch home. Oftentimes, when we want to do something great, figure out what deeply troubles you. What deeply troubles you motivates a lot of the people that you see in the Bible, but also allows us to persevere in order to do good things. Because our suffering and what deeply troubles us allows us to continue to persevere and push through those things. Some of your motivations may be personal experience and the hardships. It's interesting how many of my kids that I teach on a weekly basis are from divorced families, single-parent homes. How many of them are athletes? How many of them do well in school? It's amazing to me because that's exactly what I was when I was their age. And I'm sensitive to that. I'm sensitive to that and their hardships and their pain because I understand what they're going through. So your personal experiences and hardships that you experience in life should hopefully motivate you to make sure that no one else is affected the same way. Some of the interests and things that motivate you might just be your general interests of what you like to do. I have loved technology my entire life. I have been a tinkerer since I was born. If I was born in a different generation, I'll be tinkering with cars. But my generation got computers and stuff. And throughout my entire childhood, I can track every single moment of every single decision that I made has led me to where I'm at today in my current job. Because I was so interested in it, I was willing to take classes outside of the curriculum because I just wanted to find out more. I was hungry for it. It gave me some excitement to learn about these things. I didn't know at the time what God had planned for me, but I understand now. So some of what your motivation may be is what God instilled in you to motivate yourself. Or you might have some knowledge that you see and you're like, there's got to be a better way. I have the knowledge, there's got to be a better way to do this. These are all qualities that God uniquely gives each and every single one of us. These are qualities that Jesus Christ himself had. The same qualities. Jesus was in the temple at 12 years old. He got lost. They had to go backtrack and find out where Jesus was. And when they got to him, his parents were mad, screaming at him. And he's like, don't you know what to be about my Father's business? I'm in the temple. I'm at where I'm supposed to be. He knew at 12 what he was supposed to be doing. And his life exemplified that. He was on a mission. We see here, Nehemiah was so distraught that he wept, mourned, fasted, and prayed for an extended period of time. When something affects you to your core, you have two choices. Bury it or ignore it, or do something about it. That's your choice. You can ignore it and then hope someone else takes care of it, or you can get off your butt and do something about it. Amen. We'll see what Nehemiah chooses. Verse 5. Then I said, Lord, the God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and keeps his commandments. Let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer your servant is praying before you day and night for your servants, the people of Israel. I confess the sins we Israelites, including myself and my father's family, have committed against you. We have acted very wickedly towards you. We have not obeyed the commands, decrees, and laws you gave your servant Moses. In order to do something great, you have to be burden free. You have to be burden free. Period. It is hard to do something great if you have a lot of baggage that you're carrying with yourself. Because in order to do something great, you're going to have stuff that gets added onto you. There's going to be certain situations you have to overcome. Opposition you have to overcome. Hurdles you have to overcome. It's hard to do it with a 25-pound weighted vest of your own baggage and sin. This is what Nehemiah does, is by confessing his sins in front of God, he unloads his burdens. Amen. The greater the task, the greater the burden. Why make it so much harder on yourself? How many men do we have to tune in to see on the news that get caught up in a situation because they're living a life of sin and their sin catches up to them and it buries the task God gave them? It's too many people we see. We saw one commit suicide in the jail cell last night because the burdens of sin that he chose to live in, now he's going to deal with the consequences that ruined his life. When you are tired, worried, stressed out, when you're trying to do something great, if you don't have new habits and have built yourself up to resist those things, when that stress comes, you're going to revert back to what you know. It buries too many people that God has sent to do great things. How many priests and ministers we have to see get in trouble? Because they haven't dealt with their burdens and their sins, confessed them, dealt with them, got around by people that hold them accountable, and it ends up bearing what God set out for them. I hope when I'm 67 years old and retired, I can look back and say, I'll live burden free.
Amen. Come on. Amen. Amen.
It's interesting that he confessed the family sins. I'm not sure what he went through, but maybe he understood that there was an addiction sin in his family. He had to confess those things because he knew the hurdle that he wanted to deal with his life. You know it's hereditary, some of these sins that we deal with. I look at the men in my family, I understand that sex is a huge obstacle we have to overcome.
Come on, come on.
My family is riddled with kids outside of wedlock. Everywhere. I struggled with that myself growing up. Now that I got some understanding in Pastor Fields and some men around me, I know I can hold myself accountable. But that thorn is still there. Something I inherited. So Nehemiah confesses his family's sins. And then he confesses the people's sins. What things do you need to get off your chest? What burdens do you need to get off? You want some of your parents, you want some of your kids to do great things? Stop being a burden to them.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Make the sacrifices in order to get them in the position they can be, to find their talents, gifts, and abilities. Stop introducing people in their life temporarily. And then when they cry out, don't ignore their cries. Because you're adding more burdens to them. Burdens are going to restrict them from what they're supposed to be doing at school. They're worried about what's going on at home.
True.
Nehemiah 8. Kids, I'll take Starbucks, okay? That's thinking. Verse 8. Remember the instruction you gave your servant Moses, saying, if you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then even if your exiled people are at the farthest horizon, I will gather them from here and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. They are your servants and your people, whom you redeemed by your great strength and your mighty hand. Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of this your servant and to the prayer of your servants who delight in revering your name. Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man. I was a cupbearer to the king. Nehemiah is remembering the promises God gave. He's remembering the promises that God gave Moses. He's remembering the promises that Jeremiah prophesied that the people of Israel return back to Jerusalem. And he's recalling them and acting upon faith that God's going to stay true to his word. He's remembering those things. And to act on that faith is bold. But when has God let you down? Have you forgotten what he's done for you? What he will do for you? Have you read this? There's scriptures in here of promises. There's ones that I have to remember. I was doing a workout with some of the kids at FCA camp. Most of these kids have spent most of their summer being in shape for the fall season. I'm thinking I can do the workout with them. And I did a pretty good job until we got to this running the stadium stairs. I had to run stairs since I was in D1 athlete in college. Oh man, I haven't done that in a long time. And when my legs felt like Jell-O, it was hot, I'm sweating. I was like, I had to recite Philippians 4:13. I can do all things with God gives me strength. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. That's John 10:10. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, I will give you rest. That's Matthew. These promises that Nehemiah was reciting, we should be reciting to ourselves all the time.
Right.
And then have the faith enough to act on those promises. You're God's people. Right. If no one's going to make a change, why don't you do it? He's giving you the promise. Do something. These promises will give you the perseverance and persevere through those tough times. When people doubt you. When your family members say, oh, you can't do that. Why would you want to do that? You're going to leave the safety of your job, the financial security of that, to go do something great? I can do all things. Whoever has my commands and keeps them is one who loves me. I'm going to act out on his promises. I guarantee you, he'll be ready for the fight. But it's interesting. When I read this the first couple of times, I overlooked the last line. He gives us his title. I was cupbearer to the king. Nehemiah understood that he can have the keys here if he needed to. You want to do something great? Do something great exactly where you're at now.
Good.
Do something great exactly where you're at now. If you're a high school student, do something great now. Take a debate class. Run for Stuco. Do something to put yourself in a position to try to do something great and make a change. Invite that kid over who sits by himself all the time at lunch and be a part of your table.
Come on.
Do something great right where you're at. It takes a while to be cupbearer of the king. It means you have a lot of jobs before you. There's probably a dishwasher at some point. My very first job, I was a dishwasher at Bob Evans. The lowest job you can have at a restaurant. Cleaning up other people's messes. But I'm thankful for that. Thankful for that job now. Because now I get to clean up other people's messes. But he has worked his way up to be cupbearer. If you mess up once as cupbearer to the king, you're fired. Right? But he understood that I'm in a position, God put me in a position to help utilize my position to do something great. I'm going to pick up and see what he does here in Nehemiah chapter 2. In the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I had not been sat in his presence before. So the king asked me, why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of the heart. I was very much afraid. You know you're about to do something great, you get those butterflies in your stomach. When you put yourself in a position and his time has come to answer the bell, and that gun goes off and it's time to run that race, there's butterflies in your stomach. Sometimes you're afraid. What if God actually answers my prayer? What if he has the audacity to actually answer my prayer? Some of us pray for things, but are afraid to receive it. Maybe it's fear of rejection. Maybe it's fear of getting a yes. Fear of coming across selfish. God, I need these things from you, but I don't want to come across selfish. He placed that burden on your heart for a reason. He wants you to do something about it. Be selfish. There's a book. When you get hired onto the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they give you a book to read. One of the books. And the book's titled God Asked. And the whole message of it is, are you going to be bold enough and trust God is going to give you the things you ask for? It's about bringing people in together along with your mission in order to do what God asks, what you ask God to do in your life. But there's that fear. I love Nehemiah was honest. He says, I was afraid. This is a king of an entire nation. One of the largest kingdoms in recent history. modern civilization history. His kingdom was wide, bigger than at one point than Rome itself. I'm just a cupbearer. I can't ask him for things that my people need. Verse 3. But I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my ancestors are buried lies in ruins and its gates have been destroyed by fire? The king said to me, what is it you want? What is it are you willing to ask God for? What have you asked God? He gave it to you, and you're not doing anything with it.
Come on.
Will you trust in God to provide a way for what He has set you out to do? The king asked, what is it that you want? I have the power and authority to give you anything that you need. What is it that you want? Nehemiah says, then I prayed to the God of heaven. I love this. Because Nehemiah didn't rely on himself to answer. He instinctively goes into prayer, asking for wisdom, asking for guidance. Because he knows the task God has set out for him. He doesn't want to dishonor God or disrespect what God has done for him or is going to do for him by himself getting in the way. Verse 5, and I answered the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city of Judah where my ancestors are buried, so that I can rebuild it. Then the king, with the queen sitting beside him, asked me, how long will your journey take, and when will you get back? It pleased the king to send me, so I set a time. I also said to him, if it pleases the king, I have letters to the governors to Trans-Euphrates, so that they will provide me safe conduct until I arrive in Judah. And may I have a letter of Asaph, keeper of the royal park, so he will give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel by the temple and for the city wall and for the residence I will occupy. And because of this gracious hand of my God was on me, the king granted my request. The reason why he granted his request is because he had a plan to be great. He wasn't just going to let life happen to him and he's going to get whatever he gets. He spent the time and the diligence before he goes to the king to be ready with an answer. Some of you have gatekeepers on your jobs. You want to do something great, they keep saying no to you because you don't have a plan. How much is it going to cost me? How long will this take? What are we going to get back out of it? How's it going to make our company better? How's it going to serve our workforce? I don't know. Well, then no, you're not going to get it. You don't have a plan. Young men, young women, have a plan.
That's it.
Don't wait till you see it to figure it out. You got D's and F's your first 3 years. You can't play catch up. Have a plan for your life. Figure it out. You really like science? Good. Pursue that. Develop new skills in that field. But don't be lax in language arts, because it'll hinder you. He's a cupbearer. He's not an engineer. He doesn't have a degree in engineering, but guess what? He was prepared. He knew exactly what was needed to rebuild a wall. He must have done some studying on the side. Everything great God has done, He did it according to a plan. This entire book is a plan. It begins, Human sin, I have a plan to redeem them. I have a plan through the line of David on the sin of Savior. I have a plan that the people of Jerusalem are going to come back. I have a plan to reconnect and put the sins on Jesus Christ so that I might have favor. I have a plan at the end of the book to come back and bring a new heaven here on earth. He has a plan. Why don't you have one? What is your plan to do something great? How can you begin the process of where you are at? You're in middle school, not sure where you're going to be doing? Good. Do some things that challenge you to hopefully get interest in. That's what school is for. To help you learn how to appreciate education, find your strengths and weaknesses, build up the weaknesses, and develop your strengths. That's the goal of school. Your gifts, your passions, your interests, your sensitive subjects, things that get close to your core. Your plan should likely be somewhere in there. He'll be somewhere in there. What God has set out for you, how He's uniquely gifted you, and how He uniquely made you is for a reason. Come on. You want to do research to help solve cancer because your grandparents suffered with cancer and it hits you to your core. Good. God gave you that burden. Prepare yourself. That's a big burden. Don't hinder yourself in high school by getting distracted from some girl.
Come on, that's right.
Don't hinder yourself because you're disrespectful to your teachers.
Come on.
Come on.
There's a lot of young people, a lot of talented young people when I was a recruiter in college. And I would go to recruit kids. The very first thing I would do was look up their Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. The very first thing. Many kids disqualify themselves because of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If that's how you represent yourself to the public, how are you going to represent yourself when you've got my team name on your Facebook page? You're not going to do it. A lot of good kids ruined their opportunity before I even met them. Even more ruined their opportunity when I went to go talk to their coach and their teachers. That's 3 or 4 steps before I even talk to the kid or the parents. Because the kids didn't have a plan themselves in high school or middle school, I couldn't make them part of my plan for our school. I couldn't do it. And so some doors were shut. Take education seriously. If you don't, you limit yourself on what God great you can do. Young people, the reason why I have so many opportunities is because I pushed myself education-wise. I've developed the skill set. Well, Brother Trevor, I just want to be a plumber. Okay? Have you seen how complicated plumbing is? It's going to get more complicated. You're going to continue learning new jobs and new skills your entire life as a plumber, as an electrician. Take education seriously, because if you don't, it's going to be a struggle when you're 50 and learn a whole new system. New technologies come out, solar panels are everywhere. Whatever's going to happen, things are going to change. You're going to learn how to adapt to those things. But if you don't have that foundation of taking education seriously, you're going to limit yourself. You're just going to be a cupbearer for the rest of your life. Some of you are currently on that path that God's given you. I beg you, do not get distracted on your path. There are too many people, as I mentioned earlier, ruin themselves because of distractions. R. Kelly's made some great music. I can't listen to it anymore because of decisions he made. He distracted himself. There's a lot of music. I love his gospel album. Hard to listen to now because of distractions he has. It's funny, if you continue reading Nehemiah, he has quite a few distractions. The people around him distract him. People that are there, they like the way that the city is in ruins, so they're like, why are you doing this? So you try to undermine him, undercut him. He gets lazy at certain points, lets certain things go. The temple starts to fall apart. He ends up making some mistakes. But the biggest mistakes that him, Ezra, and Zerubbabel make, if you read the entire book, is that all their mistakes was because they stopped and went to God for it. They stopped asking for wisdom. They stopped. Every single mistake that you read in those two books, they did it because they stopped going to God. You want to know what leadership looks like? Keep reading the Bible. There's a lot of examples what to do and what not to do. Be a history student of this. Be a student of history in the United States. Understand the civil rights movement. Understand certain things. You got passionate about something, understand why Colin Kaepernick took a knee and why he has no longer have a job. Understand these things. Understand the past and the history. There's some people in this church can tell you exactly what's going on. They lived through it. They were in the marches. You might want to ask them some wisdom and guidance. But most importantly, go to God for wisdom and guidance so you don't make the same mistakes the ones that came before you did. Don't disrespect God's plan by laziness, not turning in homework. Disrespecting God's plan for yourself just by simply playing too much Xbox.
That's right.
It's hard for you to open God to open those doors up if you can't qualify.
Right.
Can't get you into college if you have a 12 on your ACT. No matter how big a kid you are and what God has set out for you, the answer will be no. Sorry, there's a community college down the street. Now listen to your parents who are trying to protect you and put some burdens on your life, unnecessary burdens on your life. Listen to them. Yes, it stinks that you have to be home at 11:30 because that's your curfew. They're trying to protect you from adding burdens onto your life. You see some classmates who have already put burdens on themselves at an early age. Do not make the same mistakes. Do not disrespect God's plans for you. Because He has a plan. He has a plan. He has a plan.